Fueling the passion, igniting the light through highs and lows, we'll stand as one. A legacy, a tale that's just begun. Together we roar, together we roar. Detroit Lions will rise, with our hearts full of dreams and the fire in our eyes. From the past to the future, we'll claim our own. In the home of the brave, we'll proudly have grown. So let's lift our voices, let's turn it up loud. For the love of the Lions, we'll always be proud.
All right. It's Gripes and Hype. It's a Thursday night. What's happening, Lions fans? Man, I was almost on time. How you guys doing? What's happening? We're going to be talking about Johnny Morton tonight. And whatever else you want to talk about. Big shout out to Maureen today. Maureen today. Finding some old school content. It's hilarious, right? Because I'm going to refrain from mentioning the date right now. No, I'll mention the date. I won't mention what it is. I'll wait till he gets out there a little bit more. July of 2023. I didn't even know that individual then. No clue who that individual was. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. Just buried yourself. Absolutely just buried yourself. Unbelievable. You know, that's what they say, man. When egos get in the way, it's funny when people talk about egos getting in the way. The only ego getting in the way is someone else's. I seem to collaborate with quite a few people, do I not? We have tons of guests on and worked with plenty of people. It's crazy to me. But anyway, we're here to talk about gripes and hype. There's my gripe for the night. The people are stupid, naive, and egotistical maniacs. That's my gripe. That's my gripe for the night. Hope you all doing well. Sad story today. They got even more sad. So this morning, Marshawn Nealand passed away from self-inflicted reasons, which I'm not going to say because it's trigger words on YouTube. And then we found out the worst. You know, I speculated about the worst, and I was hoping it wasn't going to be the worst. And it was the worst. And that's just tragic, man. It's tragic for the NFL. It's tragic for his family. It's tragic for his team, his friends, anybody that, you know, spent 2 minutes with the man. It's got to hurt. It has to hurt. So do yourself and your loved ones a favor and pick up the phone. Go knock on a door. If you're not hearing from somebody, if you think that somebody is not doing well, do them a favor and just check on them. That's one of the biggest reasons I think that I try to kill people with kindness, right? And try to be a pretty decent person because of that example right there. What happened this morning with Mr. Marshawn Nealand is you never know how someone's feeling a certain way a certain day. You never know. You have no clue. And you don't know if somebody's outrage or anger or outwardly expressions or attacks on other people are because they're suffering from something inside. It's usually the people that are attacking others and talking smack and all. They're the ones that are usually struggling with something. And that's why I usually try to just, don't sacrifice my kindness for weakness, but that's why I try to play the softball game. I try to let it all just kind of water underneath the bridge and just let it be and until you push me too far. But this type of situation, man, this is why I try to sprinkle a little bit more sugar than salt in life. That's why this channel's different. You may not like all my takes. You might not like that I don't get angry and yell and scream and jump up and down and beat my chest. Look, I can tell you right now for a fact, I've had those days. Everyone's had those days. I've had those days with this team. My dad will tell you. There was a time I was extremely disgruntled about this team. But I didn't give up. I didn't give up. And what's hilarious is, certain people recognize others for going to games and supporting a team. 27 years right here. So if anyone knows anything or wants to talk about something, you don't have to go to a game to be a fan. Not saying that. You don't have to go to a game to be the number one fan. You don't even have to go to the game to be fan of the year. The point I'm making, been there, done that, supported this team for a long, long, long time. I've seen all aspects of fans, types of fans, and everybody can fan their own way, right? It's up to you to be your own fan. I choose to be this type. And whether that attracts a million subscribers or one subscriber, I'm still going to be the same fan. It's not going to change. It's not going to change. Some days are going to be harder than others. Some days we're going to have more difficult conversations than others. Some days you're going to have stats and things that you don't like. And it is what it is. It is what it is. Some days I'll be more spirited than others. But at the end of the day, I'm still going to be the same fan, as you should be. As you should be. All right, let's get into it, man. I'm going to bring in John Morton right after I say hi to Elaine Hill, Trace, Maureen, J-Rod, U of M Dad, Brandy Coffee, Detroit Grit. Who else is in here tonight? Brent Layton. Ooh, Sam Rivers. What did I miss with that? Why is Sam Rivers not popping him in my brain? Oh, Limp Bizkit bassist. I don't know anything about that. 48 years old. Jeez. Unbelievable. Yeah, it's never easy to lose anyone, man. It's never easy. Nick P, what's happening? Stain Vision, Major Pain, Derek Lewis. I'm sure there's a lot of other people I'm forgetting. I'm trying to wind back. Raw Bees, King SJ, all the way from Toronto. Hey, what's the weather like in Toronto, man? We're about to get some snow. 4 to 8 inches this weekend. 4 to 8 inches. David Napier, what's happening? All right, so let's get into it. The David Lyons, how you doing? The thing for me, man, my eyes are just baked today. I ran out of Lumify. Allergies are just killing me. Johnny Morton was so uneventful today. Just absolutely uneventful. His press conference was just... It just turned me off. Number one, I feel like he was really nervous. For some reason, you could almost kind of hear it in his breath a little bit. And he seemed nervous because of what just transpired. And maybe there is something to this whole thing with him having to be in the booth. So I'm going to step back from my take a little bit on him not being on the field is a big mistake. Because if he absolutely does suffer from some sort of anxiety or anything like that, and I'm only saying that because I got that out of the press conference today, like he seemed really nervous. You'll tell me because we're going to bring it in just a moment. So I'm going to step away from that a little bit. If he needs to be in the booth, be in the booth. I still don't like it. I don't like it. I'd rather have everybody together on the sideline. I'm just old school. But he needs to do him, and as long as they can produce, it doesn't matter, right? So you guys walked me out of that, after week 2, which I knew it was too early. I fell for the trap. But He just has to produce. The offense has to produce, and they're not producing. Yeah, there's some big yards, some big plays, some big playmakers, but they're not producing. And that's the problem that I have. It's just I didn't get my videos done today. I didn't get anything done today. Well, I mean, I got a lot done, but I didn't get anything done. Let's get into John Morton. And then we'll conversate about that, and then we'll open up phone lines shortly after. So I started rebuilding all my new scenes. I got the scene tree back finally, and when I get out of it, it disappears. So it's like I can't turn it off or something. I don't know. Hopefully everything works. Here we go. Holy smokes.
Can't wait to get on the field. Dan Quinn, this guy does a heck of a job. Known him before in the past when I was in San Francisco, going against him in Seattle a lot. Him and Pete Carroll. They've always done a great job. Sound, football, they're really...
All right, I'm going to pause here for just a moment because he says great job about 10 times. It's like the only thing that he could say. They do a really great job. They did a really great job. Always did a great job. Just listen. And so he kept repeating himself. He had no words at all. He just seemed really nervous.
Detailed, get after the ball. They attack the ball, try to create turnovers. They've always done a great job. Dan's got a lot of respect for him. Looking forward to it.
Hold on. I'm going to change my mind. We're going to play a game. You guys count with me. How many times did he say great job? Let's do that. I'm going to rewind it. Let's count how many times he says great job.
Can't wait to get on the field. Dan Quinn, this guy does a heck of a job. Known him before in the past when I was in San Francisco, going against him in Seattle a lot. Him and Pete Carroll. They've always done a great job. Sound, football, they're really detailed. Get after the ball. They attack the ball, try to create turnovers. They've always done a great job. Dan's got a lot of respect for him. Looking forward to it. Any questions?
When you've got an offensive line that's ailing a little bit, we'll kind of see how that ends up on Sunday. But what can you do as an offensive coordinator to help maybe protect those guys and just allow them to play at their best ability, knowing they're ailing a little bit? You might have some backups in there.
Yeah, I mean, we've kind of been doing that all year. I mean, we're always trying to protect our guys and do the right thing. I mean, we'll just continue to do that. But man, if they can play, we're going. You know, we're going to do what we do. That's important. We don't want to be handcuffed.
We know how excited you were about your game plan going into that one. It didn't play out the way I think you probably envisioned. What was the worst part of watching that film back, John?
The protection. That was the biggest thing. I mean, we can draw up all these plays we want. It doesn't matter. That was the biggest thing. Winning our one-on-one matchups. That was big. That set us back. Second and long, third and long. We had a lot of third and longs. But when we did things right, we did really well. That was the biggest thing. It's just clogging the middle up, protection. You can't do a lot of stuff with that. And, we all have our hand in that game plan. And, we would do things differently next time.
Asked David about this yesterday, David Shaw.
Yeah.
It's not a singular issue. It's one guy here, one guy here. Every play, it's something a little bit different when there's a breakdown. When you look at that as a coordinator, what is the biggest challenge when there isn't like a single thing to really focus on to fix it?
Yeah, I mean, I told the guys it's all about us and making sure that you really study your opponent, like the guy over next to you. Like if this is the way I've always approached and what I've always told when I was coaching wideouts or just coaching anybody, man, know the guy over you. The insides and outs, when is he turning up? You got to know everything. And we've been pretty good with that. I really think that. It's just that, man, hey, we're protecting, getting the blitz and everything, and all of a sudden, oh, the back, maybe he did this wrong, or the tackle did this wrong, or the receiver didn't run the right route. That's what's going on. You know what I mean? It's just doing it all together, 11 guys at the same time. I mean, that's where we have to get to. You know what I mean? Because we're not far away. I mean, the score was still kind of close. You know what I'm saying? That's the biggest thing. Just honing in on the details, refocus. Okay, do what you're supposed to do. That's the biggest thing. And we got to fix this up front and protecting the quarterback. And we will. We've addressed it and working on it yesterday and today. We have to do it. Because if you don't address it, they're just going to keep doing what we've seen on tape. So that's the important thing. Make the corrections and go on and make sure it doesn't happen again. If it does, then you got to make some changes. So
maybe this is all about the offensive line too. But you guys, you're averaging 30 points a game. You're second in the league in scoring. And that's what the name of the game is on offense. But maybe it hasn't been as consistent as you'd like in some areas. So what's the just level of concern, if there is any, about the offense, or if that's just
kind of just said it.
Yeah, that's it.
It's protecting the protection and all of that. That's the biggest thing. Like, I can draw up all these plays we want. If you don't protect and have sound protection so the quarterback can throw the ball, it doesn't matter. So that's the biggest thing.
Huh? What? Johnny? What did you just say? Like, I'm completely baffled over here listening to this. Like, this is our offensive coordinator. He must be really nervous. He just said, I just said it, right? Protecting the protection and all of that. I haven't looked at the transcript yet. I can't wait to look at the transcript because I'm going to pick it apart. And that line right there just stopped me. I was in Meyer listening to this, walking around, and I just had to stop, and I started laughing. I got earbuds in. Imagine me in the frozen aisle just dying laughing, and people are probably looking at me like, what is this weirdo doing dressed up in Lions gear laughing at the frozen pizzas? And it's because I'm listening to Johnny Moe say protecting the protection and all of that. They do a great job. What? Come on, Johnny.
And guys, listen, this is fixable. That's the beauty of it. You know what I'm saying? This is all fixable, and we've addressed it.
Just the protection, though, is somewhat related. I mean, the problems related to not being able to establish the run.
It happened. I mean, just their movement up front and everything, it was tough. You know what I mean? So, I mean, we had things for it. We had chances. Again, I'm going back. One guy didn't do that. No, we didn't get it. It could have been big. I mean, you guys watch the game, and when you watch it, you watch it in detail and everything. Man, if he would have got that. Oh, if we would have done this. That's the biggest thing. We had a good scheme. So that's when you break down. I mean, it takes all 11, especially on offense. It takes all 11 guys. If you don't do it, it could be tough.
John, earlier this year, you took the opportunity to simplify some of the communication on the O-line while you were working with some younger pieces. Do you think that move is helping you now as you work to bring in more depth pieces as well and rotate things around?
Yeah, I think our communication has been really good. Ever since the Green Bay game, it's been really good. It's just a matter of some guys getting beat. That's all it is, man. I'm just telling you, it's when you look at it over and over and over, it's one or two guys that are just breaking down. And we got young guys, and they're still learning. And really, they shouldn't be, because man, we're halfway through the season. I mean, everybody's a vet, and we've addressed it.
Okay, so I think he just called him out, right? It can't be any more clear than that to me. It's one or two guys. Some guys are getting beat. And then he says it's one or two guys. And then he says we got guys young, they're still learning. And then he says they shouldn't be. It's halfway through the season. We're all vets. So he basically just called out Mahogany. Well, we don't have to worry about him anymore. He's unfortunately done for the year. I thought he's played pretty well. And then we have Ratledge. So are those the two guys that you're calling out? Basically two rookies? You honestly can't expect two rookies to come in and play lights out. Like you can't expect that. I don't care where you drafted them. Even first rounders taken in the top 10, top 12, they still don't pan out sometimes in their first year, especially on the offensive line. So if that's what he's going to blame all of this on, and then for him to say that our communication has been good, oh my goodness. I'm looking at this game and I'm seeing guys not having a clue. They're not having a clue where they're supposed to line up, what route they're running. And he says that guys running the wrong route. Well, if they're running the wrong route, Johnny, how is the communication good? Explain that to me. We're gonna finish this and we'll come back. But I'm telling you, it's just sounded like a bunch of BS to me. What I wanted to hear from Johnny, I'll tell you when we're done. But I wanted to hear something different.
Is it you feel like it's strictly physical with the protection, John? Or, I know Frank Ragnall's not walking through the door, but that was always his thing, right? Was the ID element of it?
No, the IDs have been good. Yeah. I'm just saying guys are breaking down. And it's one or two guys when you watch it. And we got to collectively get it right.
If it's one or two guys, is it as easy as making a position change or making a personnel change then? Could that be a...
I don't think that. I don't think that because the guys have been doing a really good job. I mean, that's the head coach's. He's the one who makes that decision. But if a certain guy is making the same mistake over and over, then it has to be addressed.
Okay, so he just totally, come on, dude. He's going back and forth. Is it as easy as making a change, right? If it's one or two guys that are breaking down, it's what he just said. He was just asked. How the IDs. Yeah, the IDs have been good. It's just one or two guys breaking down. Okay, well, if it's just one or two guys, is it as easy just to make a change? Or is it as easy as just making a change? And he says, I don't think that. They've been doing a really good job. Well, that's Dan Campbell's job to do that. What? You just said one or two guys are breaking down. You just said we got guys that are learning. You just said some guys are getting beat. You said it's one or two guys more than a few times. Then you say communication's been good. What? Johnny, this is all over the place. You're hypocritical consistently.
Anything.
It's contradicting himself.
We're in the performance business here. So
you're not saying it's that where one guy's making the same mistakes. It's just one or two guys per play that when the breakdown happens.
Yeah, when you look at it. And so we're addressing it.
What makes Sam such a valuable weapon for an offensive coordinator?
Say that again?
What makes Sam Laporta so valuable of a weapon? I see you smile, so just curious, what is it about his skill set or just his ability that
I just think he's one of those tight ends. He's real savvy. And boy, is he really good after the catch. Man, is he really good. I don't know, something with those Iowa tight ends.
Is Johnny stoned? I'm getting this he's stoned vibe. That's what I'm getting. I'm sorry, I just had to say it. He just looks too relaxed. And then nervous and then relax. I don't know. Just me.
Man, they're always pretty good after the catch, but I think in his hands and his ability, his athleticism to get open as a tight end, that's big. You got certain tight ends. You got the bigger type of guys like the Gronks and bully you. I mean, this guy's like a wide receiver playing tight end. He's really athletic, catches the ball, and he's really good. I'd be shocked. He might be one of the best tight ends after the catch. Kittle and those guys. That's a plus now because we can catch it underneath and he can go get the first. I mean, you saw what he did when that first touchdown. I was getting ready to call another play, and all of a sudden, he scored. You know what I mean? So that's why I smile. It's pretty impressive. the things that he does. He's a
Sammy
special
is
player.
impressive.
Hey, John, the ground game has hit some big plays, but maybe not quite as efficient as you guys would
Yeah, I
like
agree.
play in, play out. I think I might know your answer here, but just what's the key to running the ball more consistently up front?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of already said it. You know what I'm saying? So that's just like with the passing game or anything. It's just about being consistent. You know, we've narrowed things down where, you know, you don't have so many runs or so many passes, so the guys know what to do with all the different type of looks. I think that's important, and we've been doing that. Listen, we've been doing that, and you know, that type of defense, you know, it's like 1, 2, 3, and all of a sudden you get one. You know what I mean? But you get behind the 8 ball, then your play calling kind of changes. You know what I mean? So a lot of second and longs and third and long, it's hard. You know, so.
John, I'm just wondering, Dan said he wants to get Isaac Tesla a little bit more on the field.
Yeah.
Where's he at in his development, and why hasn't he been used just a little bit more up until this point?
Yeah, I think, listen, he's been doing a great job. He's playing special teams. He does a really good job on special teams. We're going to get him involved more, and that helps with the other guys, so they're not always playing, 65, 70 plays. But we're real happy where he's at. Leaf, all these guys have different skill set, and they're all going to play. So I think that's important. And, we're going to get him more involved. It's just, sometimes when he's in, does the read take him there? That's just what happens. So.
Looked like you guys were going to avoid having to play Frankie Louvu, but he had his suspension. Looked like you.
It's just, sometimes when he's in, does the read take him there? That's just what happens. So.
Looked like you guys were going to avoid having to play Frankie Louvu, but he had his suspension overturned. What kind of player is he? What do you have to look out for when he's on the field?
Yeah, I think he's a solid player, man. He plays on the edge. He's in the box, out playing backer. Really good blitzer. That's his biggest thing. He really brings it, and we have to be ready for his athleticism, what he brings. I remember going against him a couple years ago. He's just a solid player, really solid. But biggest thing is him, how he blitzes, how he comes off the edge. Really physical player.
Play action is a big part of your game. I mean,
Say that again?
play action is obviously a big part
Yeah.
of your game. I mean, have you been able to get to it as much as you would like, I guess?
Yeah, we try. We try.
What?
I know, but I mean, like over the last few games, I mean, have you?
Yeah.
You've got.
I mean, there's, when you look at our game plan, there's more play action than there is drop back lots of times. Because that's what this team is built on: running the ball, play action, movement game. Not as much not as much drop back. Unless we have to. I mean, we have it, but that's kind of the things we do that we've always done here.
Then we'll talk about.
Okay. I do want to get into JMO 2 here in just a moment, but I got to come back to this and talk about it. So I don't know what I just witnessed, honestly. Now that I was able to sit down and watch it and not just listen to it. I don't know. I mean, you guys tell me, was that I hate to use Benedict Johnson, in this situation, but he would have never given us, I don't think, that kind of a press conference. I think it would have been a little bit more, I hate to use the word accurate, but I didn't hear anything that was like extremely great football lingo, if you will. And maybe he doesn't talk that way, but the X's and O's certainly were kind of missing. Maybe that's intentional. I will leave that on the table. That maybe that's intentional because he doesn't want to give anything away or, allude to anything changing. That's a possibility. So I'll give him that. But this just seemed really odd to me. Just like he didn't watch any film. Like he didn't watch any, because they're all boilerplate answers. What did they ask about Louvu? Yeah, he's solid. I remember going up against him a couple years ago. He's just really solid. Okay. Well, what does he do? Where do you have to protect? What do you have to do to get after the guy? How do you keep him out of the backfield? Answer those questions. We like to isolate Sam Laporta. Or you know what? Throw out a lost leader and say, yeah, you know what? We think we can really, single him up with David Montgomery in the screen game. He may never call that play once. I would put out landmines, little mouse traps everywhere if I was back there talking to people. That's what I would do. They'd catch on eventually, but then they just won't ask me those questions anymore. He just seemed really off. And maybe it's nervousness, maybe it's anxiety, maybe it's pressure, maybe it's stress. I'll just say yes to all of that. And maybe he doesn't want to give a whole lot up. But I was not inclined to believe that anything is changing with that press conference. That's just kind of where I'm at with it. You guys tell me what you thought about it. Obviously, in the chat right now and in the comments later, what did you think about this press conference? Did it give you the feel goods that things are going to change? For instance, that last question, tell me about the play action. What was the question? Have you guys been getting into the play action as much as you would like to, I think was the question. And have you been using it as much? And his answer was, we try to. What? We try to? The answer should be, yeah, we get into it 56% of the time and we do dropbacks, the other 44% of the time. He should know those numbers, right? He should know that, yeah, we're hitting our numbers. Yeah, we're just not executing. Like, I didn't hear the word once, execute. All right, so the game was, in the beginning, how many times did he say, they do a good job? Was it 3? Did we count 3? I think it was just 3. I think it was just 3. We'll see if it'll be all right. Look, I don't think it's going to be all right for John Morton. I don't. If he doesn't get this rolling, I think his days are numbered. I don't know that Shaw is the answer, but I will say this. It may have been... Okay, let's put the tinfoil hat on for just a moment. What if the Lions couldn't get the guy that they wanted? Have we ever thought about that? What if they didn't get the guy that they wanted? Because we didn't hear any interviews. We didn't hear anyone coming into Detroit. Do you remember that? Nobody. Not one person did we hear of any interviews for the offensive side of the football. For the defensive side of the football, we did, but not the offensive side of the football. What if we didn't get the guy that we wanted, so they brought in 2 guys? So in case one doesn't work out, that Shaw's right there to pick up and, keep on running the offense. Or does Dan take it back over? Or does it get sent down to Hank Fraley? I don't know. I'm going to leave that question out there. Did we get our guy? Or was he a consolation prize because they had history? It's just an idea. It's like, I don't believe this. It's just an idea. Anyway, I wasn't impressed. I think that when you listen to guys like Calvin Shepard, Dave Phipp, they explain things really well, and they kind of give you enough without giving you too much. They explain, how players played and what they expected the players, what they did right, what they did wrong, how they can get better, where they saw things. They're very intelligent. Maybe some people are better public speakers than others. I get that. Look, standing in front of people is not for everybody. But he's standing in front of, 69 men every day. Every day. Whether he likes it or not, that's his job. So he's should be good by now after 25 years or 27 years, whatever it's been, coaching football. So I wasn't impressed. I was hoping to hear a little bit more. And Dan Campbell did say something this last weekend, and that'll be in my video that'll come out. I promise I got to get it done tomorrow because I've already waited 4 days too long. The video's been cooking in my brain since I drove back after the game. And I just got to get it out. And it's probably way too late, but nothing's ever way too late in this game. All right, sorry about that. I'll open up the phone lines in a minute. So you can call back there in just a few moments. JMO, I think he had a good interview. And I think he's also frustrated. I think he's the ultimate pro right now. I think he's doing a great job with everything that he has to deal with. And I think a lot of this stems from Johnny Morton. But I want to read something. So we were asked a question. We were asked a question earlier in one of the chats. I can't remember if it was the mod chat or the Blue Zone chat. But hold on here. I could have sworn I put this work together. Where did I put it? Oh no. Where did I put it? Hold on. I gotta find it. Okay, so the question was, man, it's that time of night already. The question was, why was Jared Goff doing the kill way more in this game than ever before? Or the question was similar to that. You that asked it. I mean, if you want to rewrite the question, so everybody knows, you can. I try not to give the names out, but feel free. And this is what I've come up with. You know, after watching this offense now for about 9 weeks, and then part of the summer, I think that what we have witnessed is we have a different style of an offense. They lied to us. They straight up lied to us when they said they weren't changing much. Hold on one sec. And I say that they straight up lied to us because I see something that's a lot different than what we've seen in the past. We got all this little dump off stuff. All right, we're not getting into the long, deep crossers. We're not getting, the ball downfield. Definitely not like we did against Baltimore or against Chicago. Like, those are the only two games that we've done it, seems like. And I think the reason is this is a modified West Coast offense. I was digging into Johnny Moe a little bit, and I was digging into his history. But the answer is really that Jared Goff is calling kill audibles more this season because the Lions' new offensive coordinator, Johnny Morton, has built a system that emphasizes a two-play structure, which is more of a modified West Coast offense. So it's 2 plays in the huddle, and it relies on Goff's ability to read the defense, the blitz threats. Sorry, I'm trying to swallow a yawn here. It coverage disguises at the line of scrimmage. And so the kill cadence signals that the offense is to scrap the first play and just roll right to that second play. So they're calling 2 plays in the huddle. That makes sense. You understand that. It's pretty easy, right? Easy concept. First play is on deck. Kill comes in. You roll right to the second play. So what you'll notice is when that happens, maybe you see the back go to the other side, or you see a tight end come in motion if they have time, right? Or you'll see someone move around. You'll see the offensive lineman, call, a different protection or a slide or whatever. And then Jared Goff will be pointing out, what to do, where to go. And I think that the reason why is because of the style of offense that they're running. With Ben Johnson gone, Morton, in my opinion, has introduced more of a West Coast offense or a West Coast rhythm concept, if you will. This offense is high timing and rhythm. We know that. It's all timing. You have to be to your landmarks. The ball has to be out at a certain time. You have to be there. I mean, we see St. Brown not even looking for the ball, and then he looks at the very last second, and that ball's right in his window. And that takes timing. That takes rhythm. And then you get a lot of horizontal spacing that is built into this concept. And I think that this system often calls for the 2 plays in the huddle. It's just what it's built on. And it requires Goff to make all of these decisions and then kind of decide which one fits. And we kind of heard Dan Campbell talking about this a couple of times in a couple of interviews, that he felt that at some point Goff was just going to run the offense. He said the same thing about Jack, that he felt like Jack was going to be able to run the defense. And like, I'm not concerned about it, but at the same time, I'm concerned about it. Because if we've taken away what this offense was built on, and you saw how important it was to stick with it for a couple of seasons because it worked. Like, why would we change so much when it worked? That makes zero sense to me. I get it. You were trying to probably change a little bit because of Ben Johnson going to an interdivision team, and you have to change up a few things. But you know what? They still have to stop you. Change the language, change the verbiage, change the audible cues. Run the damn plays. They still have to stop you. Or better yet, when you install a game plan, you just make it different for those teams. Run the same offense, for what, 11 out of 17 games. That's what I would do. And I feel like, between the defensive pressure and the blitz rates and everything else that the Lions have faced, especially against the Vikings, I mean, they have been blitzing at like one of the highest rates this season. And Goff is usually effective. Do you guys realize this is the first time that Goff has failed under the blitz? This is one of the first times, if not the first time, that he has failed under the blitz in the last 3 seasons. He's been the best quarterback in the league for darn near 3 seasons against the blitz. The Vikings they blitzed more, and they blitzed the A gaps. I know you guys remember the conversations that we've had. And one of the main contributors to our conversations talking about edge and edge pressure and blitz rates, and it was A and B gaps. I've said it time and time and time again. If you want to get to the quarterback, you have to get to the A gap or the B gap. That is the number one way to get after a QB. It's exactly what I said against JJ, that the Lions needed to get through the A and the B gaps last week, and they did it to us. When I said that we had to start sending Jack Campbell more to get through that offensive line, I wasn't kidding. It works if you have the rest of the guys on the team that can do their job, and we do. We're not utilizing it like the Vikings are. They sent so much pressure through the A gap, it's not even funny. And that's where you're getting killed, because that was singling up Jahmyr Gibbs on a linebacker. So when you do the kill, right, the definition, it cancels the first play, you run the second play, and then triggers for the audible are the defensive front, the linebacker alignment, the coverage shell, the blitz threat, or the mismatch. And then it's timing, right? Usually called with 10 to 12 seconds on the play clock, and then you have hand signals, whatever, going on to make sure guys are in the right formations. So the Lions offense remains one of the most efficient offenses. Obviously, Goff increased use of the kill audibles reflects trust from the coaching staff, but I also believe what we witnessed on Sunday was a total breakdown and a collapse of this offensive scheme. Now, Ben Johnson's offense was not a pure West Coast system either. That was a hybrid scheme that I thought blended more outside zone, play action, spread concepts, and a heavy use of motion to create that unpredictability. That's why I call Ben the mixologist, because he was mixing, or Dan was, or they both were, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit more of this, a little bit less of that. Let's add a whole lot more of this. And they were doing that from week to week, quarter to quarter. It seemed like we were mixing things up. And Johnny Moe is just as stubborn as they all get out, man. And so Johnny Morton, the reason why this makes sense to me, I kind of dug into a lot of his history, right? So let's think about this for a moment. Where did he come from? Well, he came from a lineage of Sean Payton, John Gruden, Jim Harbaugh, Pete Carroll, all of whom leaned on the West Coast principles. All of them. Morton has coordinated offenses at the Jets, the 49ers, the Raiders, the Saints, and USC. And every single one was consistently emphasizing passing game detail, rhythm throws, and dual play calls that trace back to the West Coast roots. All of them. So I don't think that it's a surprise when you have a guy like Ben Johnson, who's not strictly a West Coast offense style, and he had influences, which I think the pure description of that offense was pure chaos for defenses. It was chaotic to have to defend us. But motion, personnel deception, and adaptability, I thought, were some of the core fundamentals of our offense under Ben Johnson. Yeah, I didn't like everything that he did. I think he failed us in the end, but he still did some really good stuff. Core features for Ben Johnson: outside zone run game. We had pullers, crack blocks, pin and pull, right? Play action, RPOs disguised with motion. You have mesh, high and low passing concepts, stretch zones. There's a lot of trick plays in there, some unpredictability, right? The well was really deep with Ben Johnson. Then when you go to Johnny Morton, right? Career with Oakland Raiders under as an offensive assistant under John Gruden and Bill Callahan, both West Coast disciples. New Orleans, 2006, and then 2015 and 16, passing game coordinator and wide receivers coach under Sean Payton, a modern West Coast innovator. And then you have USC, 2007 to 2010. He was a passing game coordinator, and then later the offensive coordinator under Pete Carroll and Lane Kiffin. Well, they blended a little bit more of the pro style with the spread offense. And then you have San Francisco, 2011 to 2014. He was the offensive coordinator, wide receivers coach under Jim Harbaugh, running the Power West Coast hybrid. And then the New York Jets, 2017, offensive coordinator under Todd Bowles, installing more of that rhythm-based passing game. And then you have the Raiders, 2019 to 2021, senior offensive assistant under John Gruden again. With the Denver Broncos in 2023 and 2024, he was the passing game coordinator under Sean Payton, credited with helping Bo Nix to thrive. And then here he is in Detroit with all of that experience, and he's blending it all, but it's the West Coast, man. It's the West Coast. I think that he's got too much emphasis into this West Coast style of an offense, and it's slowing us down. That's my take. What's yours? You know, that's what I'm thinking's going on. And then when I go in and I watch the tape, I'm like, the aha moment. It hit. It makes sense. The defense hurt us because they weren't giving us any time. The offensive line hurt us because they weren't giving us any time. But just watch what we've been calling. Look at where the ball's going. Matter of fact, if I could pull up average depth of target right now. I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull it up this fast. I probably should have earlier. I don't know why I have a fan on and it's 30 degrees outside. Okay. Average depth of target. I'm not going to be able to find what I want. I mean, the ADOT, it says that we're 13th in the NFL right now at 8.21. That's a little misleading to me. That's a little misleading. Our defense, average depth of target's 10.44. That can't be. That's terrible. Even though our defense has played pretty well. All right, I'll dig into this. Maybe I'll include it in a video. If I get time, I still got to record tonight anyway. So anyway, look, that's my 2 cents on John Morton. I think that we've got too much West Coast offense influence, not enough spread. Not enough zone. We need more deep balls, right? We do. We have to get JMO involved. You have to spread out the defenses. You cannot allow them to crash the middle. The number one thing that pissed me off about this press conference is that when he was asked, what can you do to help out the offensive linemen, especially when you've got rookies and now you have, some new guys coming in or, some backups coming in. I was hoping to hear, we've addressed it. Okay, great. I'm glad you addressed it. We're working on it. Okay, I'm glad you're working on it. What's the plan? Have you thought about going to a 7-man protection? Are you going to give these guys some more help? Are you going to bring in an extra offensive lineman? Are you going to stack Sam Laporta or Brock Wright up as an H-back? What is your plan? Are you going to continue just running 5-man? Because it's not working. And I get what he said. Other teams see what the Vikings just did to us, and they're going to try to do the same thing. Yeah and no. Yes, it could happen if those defenses are similar in speed and size and defensive structure. But then again, no, because it's not easy to do. It's just not. And no one has done it to the Lions yet. I mean, Minnesota tried last year. They didn't get away with it, in both games. This is the first time they were able to get away with it. Why is that? Missed assignments, poor offensive plan, not enough protection. Johnny needs to fix it. I think that if Johnny goes in and totally lays an egg against a really good defense that we're going to see again this week, then I think he's on the hot seat. And it might be too hot. Might be too hot. All right, I'll open up the phone lines. It's gripes and hype. I still got to get to the gripes and the hype, so let me get those pulled up too. I forgot to... Actually, no, I didn't forget. Hold on. I think I have some of them right here. Now, I hide people's names. If you want to stake ownership to the question, feel free. But I hide people's names because, one, I haven't figured out how to put these on the screen. I have to figure it out. I used to be able to just press a button when I was on other streaming platforms. Can't do that on OBS. But there might be a plugin that I don't know about. All right, where's my questions at? Come on. Oh, hey, there we go. I can't even read that. I don't even know if you guys can read that. All right, question 1. God, my eyes are cashed. Says, I think our defense is great and starting to mesh. I haven't heard much on Casey Rogers and what he brings to the D-line from really anyone besides when he got hired. When he was hired, I was expecting for some different D-line looks like 5-man front and some different blitzes. I know early against Green Bay, I saw the ends were dropping back, which I didn't like at all. And I think that they should never do that again. But should we expect to see some different looks from the D-line as the year goes on? Answer is yes, we should. We should see some different options coming out of this D-line. And thank you for the message. Again, I'm not gonna say your name. But yeah, I do think that we're gonna see some different things. I think that part of it was waiting for Lee McNeil. You're gonna have some more opportunity. He has more of that pass rushing style. And I think that when you have more of a veteran leadership on here, Casey Rogers is going to be able to open this up a little bit. To your point though, the whole dropping back, and Aiden was dropping back and AQM was dropping back and they were doing a little bit more contain. They've been doing that in just about every game. It just depends on which game you look at. Like the Ravens, they did it quite a bit. The Chiefs, they did it quite a bit. But yeah, I think that you're seeing a good mixture of what Calvin Shepard is trying to dial up. He's trying to dial up the linebackers, which means your defensive line, your ends especially, they need to come back a little bit to drop back. You're going to see that more often. But the twists and the stunts, man, we saw a really good game against the Bucks, man. We saw guys flying around. That's what we need to see. We need to see a lot of pins or a lot of pulls and twists and games and all sorts of stuff. That's what I like to see. I like to see a lot of movement. I get sick of the straight rush. I think it's old. I think it's outdated, but you got to have the right guys with speed that can, get around the edge or, crisscross with somebody. You need the right guys to have some speed and some agility and some instinct. We have it. We have them. We do. And I think that it also requires having some good DBs. All right, let's get into this second question. Hey, that one we can read. Good morning. Well, it was a good morning, I'm sure. I thought this might be a good subject to get some interaction. A guy at work and I keep going back and forth, arguing for the last month on if it came down to it, the Lions should keep, or if it came down to it, the Lions should keep Aiden Hutchinson or Jack Campbell, Sam Laporta, or Brian Branch. I am in favor of keeping 3 players compared to one. One or on the other hand, what does that say? Oh, he on the other hand thinks Aiden is who we should keep if it came down to it. Well, I think that answer has already been given to us. I apologize for getting to this one a week late. Clearly, we're keeping Aiden, and you know what? We're going to be keeping Jack and Brian and Sam too. I think that's the plan. I don't think we're going to lose any of them. Definitely not losing Jack. That's without a doubt. Honestly, if I had to put my name on it, I would say all 3 of those guys are safe. I think Kirby would get traded first. Honestly. He's going to be a tough trade, though, so maybe not. That knee issue is a problem. All right, question number 3. Is it time for John Morton to get out the booth and fix some of these problems that the offense that the offense is having? I see some problems. I see some problems with first and third down play calling. And what's up with all the screen passes? He's acting like we don't have weapons. Our offense is stacked with talent. Why not run Tesla or JMO on a quick slant? Man, it's your mouth to God's ears, whoever wrote this. Yeah, look, I love the screens. I don't like the bubble screens. Screens are hard to develop. I understand that, but when they're utilized at the right time, man, do we have the guy to do it. And that's Jahmyr Gibbs. You could even get JMO involved in some of that stuff. You could have him go in motion, do a little hook in, get in front of the offensive line and take a little, screen pass over the middle, or it would be a short slant then. But you're absolutely right. I think that we do need to get some of these guys involved, and I don't know why we're not using all these weapons. But to your point, we have a ton of weapons, and we don't need 5 on every play. It's okay to have 3 or 4, right? It's okay to bring in an extra offensive lineman to push the pocket. It's okay to keep the pocket clean. So I look, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. I want to see more of what we were doing. I want to see the game plan from the Bears be more of the game plan, and it's not. And I don't get it either. It is disappointing. All right. Number 4. Is John Morton's offense too vanilla? I feel like it's too simple with no scheme or deception where other teams can figure it out fast. Here's what's funny about that. John Morton just said, and I wrote this down in his press conference. He said, slimming down the offensive playbook. So this weekend, we're expecting a slimmed down playbook. So that was his answer to helping out the offensive line. That's his answer to helping out some of the new guys. We're going to slim it down. Well, that doesn't make any sense. If you go too vanilla, then you're easily going to get picked apart. You can still put some high-level stuff in there. The goal is to not put too much in to where these guys have to remember so much that's already difficult, and then they can't do any of it. That's the problem. You still need to go into the game with some really good plays. You can't just do, you can't do the easy stuff all the time. And so to your point, is it too simple? I think it's too convoluted. I think there's too much going on. And these guys are so damn confused. They don't know which way is up sometimes. I mean, that was pretty evident in this game. We had guys that were lost. I'll piggyback that on Trace's question. Why is this offense having issues? Or why is the offense having issues being consistent? Why is the offense having issues being consistent executing during games, or been consistent executing during games? They are consistent in practice, but it's not carrying over to the games. Someone else said something similar to that too, Trace, and that was, going up against our defense. How can we be consistent against our defense and not consistent against the other defenses? Why? Well, I would say that two things. One, you kind of get to know your own defense. I think that we've proven that. Like, we're going to beat each other up because we know each other. But the other side of this doesn't make any sense. Like, we have legit 3, 4, 5 of the best offensive playmakers in the game. And if you're looking at a top 25, we have 4 or 5 of them, maybe. And it wouldn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. So if we have the guys and they were consistent last year and they were consistent the year before, what changed? There's only one thing that changed, and that's John Morton. We added a better receiver than Tim Patrick and Isaac Tesla. And for people to think that he's not a better receiver than Tim Patrick, well, Tim Patrick's already hurt, so we don't even really need to have that discussion. I don't know, Trace. I really don't. It doesn't make any sense to me, other than the common denominator rule that I go by, which is you have to look at what changed and what didn't. What changed and what didn't. And what changed was Ben Johnson. And I'm not saying that it can't be fixed, and I'm not saying that we can't win a Super Bowl. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it's going to be really tough. And matter of fact, I'm going to read a message that I got tonight from someone that I think hit the nail on the head. So last question was, do you think David Shaw is now or ever was considered a plan B if things don't or won't work out with John Morton? Man, that's crazy. Yes, I do. Shaw has all the knowledge, experience, and pedigree to not only be an offensive coordinator in the NFL, but I believe he will ultimately be a head coach at this level. What do you think? I agree. I think that Shaw probably should have been our guy, but I'm still going to give some love and some respect and hope to Morton to do his job. Right? I'm not going to trash the dude. I will question him. I will talk about it. We will go through it just like everybody else does. We'll analyze it. But I do believe that Shaw is our guy next. And so he's getting a ton of experience right now, learning what we are doing in at the NFL level, or what the Lions are doing at the NFL level. Not we. What the Lions are doing at the NFL level. Yeah, I got to go to work tomorrow at Allen Park. Just kidding. So he's getting a ton of experience, and maybe that's what he needs to take that next step next year. Or maybe that was it. I kind of mentioned that earlier too. Like, is that the plan? Was that the plan? Does that plan make sense? And I would say it does make sense. It absolutely makes sense. All right, this last message that came in through the text. All right, it's kind of a long one. All right, so here it is. Hi, as I've been listening to podcasts and reading a few things and thinking about last week's game, I came to this conclusion. Roll this around in your brain and give me your thoughts when you have a moment. After sitting through the challenges of the Minnesota game, With great concern of the significant injuries incurred in that game, with nobody coming in at the trade deadline, I feel my Lions management evaluated all possibilities and made a sound judgment by not overpaying and bringing in a body just to get a body. I agree. I think they ride with the guys that they have been bringing in, bringing in the younger players where they are able or backups and go forward. Dan Campbell and the Lions' responsibility going forward would be the message to the team being this: play one game at a time, fight like hell like you've never fought before, and win the next game, and then move on. Now is the time to be happy with 1 point margin victories. The objective is to get into the dance. I like that. I like that thought process. I mean, of course, we want to win by more, but this is a great point. By the time the dance occurs, the Marines will have joined us. All those injured players and others not playing yet, and we will have our best team of the season in December. Strong team ready for the dance. So boys, got to play hard for one another. Fight like hell. Find a way to get us into the dance. The season is now. I like that. I think that's great. And I get what they're saying here, which is we as fans need to be happy with a 1 point victory. Yeah, we're going to grind our teeth out watching the game. But as long as we win, it doesn't matter. And if we start to feel some sort of way that this team can't make it because we're winning by 1 point, I would disagree. And I really believe in this last statement here that using the Marines, that by the time the dance occurs, that the Marines will have joined us, with all of our injured guys coming back. Hey, as long as they're healthy and they're able to play at a high level, I agree. I thought that was pretty good. So those are your gripes and your hypes. We finished with a hype. Unless you guys have anything else that you want to add. We will take phone calls for just a few moments here. I know I'm way late. I was supposed to do it 30 minutes ago. Let me get it open. All right, we just had somebody call. Now you got to call. I got to get it open. I had to open it, and I got to turn the do not disturb thing off. Now you should be able to call. One more time. All right, while we're waiting for that, let's see what you guys are talking about in the chat here. Just get the W. Don't care if it's 1 or 100. I believe you there. I'm right there with you. Nick P says the Vikings are not a bad team. The roster is loaded with a rookie quarterback. They are a great team defensively. Offensively, they have some weapons. And if J.J. McCarthy can figure it out, look, I'm not going to say that he's figured it out by beating us. He didn't have a great game. He really didn't. We had a terrible game. We allowed them to win. And that's something that can't happen. We cannot allow people to win. We gifted them that game. We even had it at the end, and we let up that stupid pass. That sealed it. It was over. Jim Jackson says, got to keep the faith. New coordinators and schemes are going to take some time. I bet that the players are just as frustrated, but understand that we will improve, still have a great team. There was a rumor going around the other day that someone said that Jared Goff was yelling at, was it John Morton? He was yelling at John Morton, or they were getting into it or something up the tunnel or something like that. this was never validated by anyone. We didn't see it reported anywhere at all, and it absolutely would have been reported. I didn't see it. I didn't even see it on social media. I don't know where it came from, but yeah, not something that I would expect from Jared Goff. One, I don't think Jared Goff would ever do that. And I definitely don't think if he would do it, that he would do it in a tunnel or in the locker room. I don't think that would happen at all. I think if anything, they would probably go behind closed doors and have a conversation. And then maybe it gets heated. I don't know. But I don't think it would happen in public. I really don't. Biggest change from last season is the O-line. I doubt Ben succeeds like he did with these guys. That is a great point. That is a very valid point. What changed, right? I mean, were the Bears that bad in week 2? Were the Ravens that bad in week 3? Because even against the Ravens, like, our offensive line played great. If you remember, like, through the first 5-6 games of the season, we let up like 1 sack, no interceptions or whatever it was. I mean, now Goff is headed towards a career record of sacks. How does that happen? Well, you take 5 sacks in a couple of games, it's going to happen. Heather, I apologize. The phone line wasn't open quick enough for you. Maybe you can just call back next week or tomorrow or something. Right now, Jared Goff is 17 TDs to 3 interceptions. When did he throw 3 picks? 1 against the Bucks, 1 against the Browns, I guess 1 against the Packers. And I realized he had 3 picks already. Every game has been over. I mean, he's had really good ratings except for 3 games. Even the last game against the Vikings, I mean, he still is having a great game. His completion percentage was a little bit down, as it should be. It was down a little bit further than it normally is, but he's already chucked almost 2,000 yards this year. I got to get my one article all caught up. And we got Thursday Night Football right now. Shoot. Trying to get off quicker. Just started. All right. I'm out of here. I'm going to go watch some Thursday Night Football. And I got to get ready for the morning. Who's winning? Nobody. It's 0-0. They've literally only been playing for a minute. Raiders and Broncos. It's at the Broncos, at Denver. And it should be on... Is this on Amazon, right? It's on Amazon Prime tonight? Thursday night? So, anyway, y'all been great. Did I make sense or did it not make sense? I don't even know how many people we had in tonight. Did we even have any crowd tonight? I never looked. I never looked at the stats. Looks like we had a few people in tonight. Pretty good. Anyway, John Morton, man, I hope he gets it together. Obviously, I'm still going to root for the guy. What else am I going to do? I'm not going to root against the guy. That's not going to happen. I'm not going to trash talk him. I'm just going to hope that he can get it together. So, all right, we'll see you in the morning. We're going to get into more Commanders tomorrow morning. Eric and I in the morning show. And we'll make a day out of it. Saturday, we're going to do some film review. And then next week, I think I'm going to have to restart my extra morning show. So I'm going to be doing something extra that drops in the morning. And I'm just going to run out of time this week. I already know it. So you guys have a great night. I appreciate every single one of you joining. If you haven't subscribed yet, please help us out and subscribe and join us for the rest of the season and beyond. And Heather, again, I apologize. Call back. All right, we'd love to hear back from you. Call back next time we're on, tomorrow morning or next week, next evening, evening show we do. So, all right, you guys take care. Go and probably go to Detroit Lions. And don't forget, man, pick up the phone. Call somebody you haven't talked to in a while. Brother, sister, family member, friend. Check in on them. Make sure they're doing all right. It's a funny time of year, man. It gets dark outside. People get lonely. People get sad. So make sure you reach out to them. Make sure they're doing all right. And hopefully they do the same for you. All right, you guys be good. And we'll check you out tomorrow. Totally misplaced where everything is now. All these new audios. There we go. See ya.